G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. Let's go. Am I the a-hole for not wanting officially adopting my daughter? So this is long and messy. In high school, I had two best friends, Mark, would be 32, and May, 32 female. I, 30 male, got kicked out of the house when I turned 16. Mark's family took me in and became like my adopted parents. I'm 2 years younger. Mark and May started dating when they were juniors in high school. After they graduated, Mark joined the military. During his first leave, May became pregnant. Shortly after his return to service, Mark passed away. We were devastated. She at the time was staying with Mark's parents, and I was still living there. I took her to all of her appointments. I helped her through her pregnancy, and they put Mark's name on the birth certificate. By this time, I had graduated early and was looking to go to local college. I became busy with school but helped any time that I could. 3 years later, I graduated and got a good job and my own place. May moved in with me with her now 3-year-old daughter Alice. Alice started calling me Dada. We tried to persuade her not to do that, but we failed. A year of us living together, I started having real feelings for May. I talked to Mark's parents, and they gave me the green light. Nothing happened between us up to this point. 2 years later, we married. 1 year after that, she gave birth to our daughter Jenny. Yesterday was Alice's 12th birthday. It was just me, May, Alice, Jenny, and Mark's parents. We have told her about Mark throughout the years, and she knows that he is really her dad. When Alice finished up opening her presents, she pulled the last one out and handed it to me. I opened it, and it was adoption papers. At some point, Alice told May that she wanted to be officially my daughter. I explained that she is my daughter, and I love her with all my heart. I tried to explain that Mark is her birth father, and that she is both his and my daughter. With that, I gently explained that I don't think that it was a good idea, and I would have to think about it. She got upset and ran to her room. Mark's parents ended up leaving. May and I got into a fight. I said I don't want to erase Mark from our history. After some back and forth, she called me an a-hole and walked to Alice's room. She wouldn't let me in to talk and locked me out of the room. This morning, she would not talk to me and Alice was still crying. I don't know what to do. Please help. Also, I know what will be said, divorce is not an option. I plan on going over to Mark's parents later tonight. Edit. I have not talked to Mark's parents yet. I will later tonight. Also, we have never discussed this situation in the past. I thought that we were in a place of understanding that I am her dad, but Mark is and was her father. Her birthday was on Tuesday. In the comments, you're the a-hole. You got so caught up in honoring someone who is gone that you forgot to honor the person right in front of you. This is certainly true. However, I will go with everyone sucks here, except for Alice, obviously. There is absolutely no way a 12-year-old got her hands on adoption papers on her own. Whichever adults thought surprising OP with adoption papers in front of the kids with no prior discussion whatsoever was a good idea are a-holes too. Presumably May discussed and decided on adoption with her 12-year-old without her husband's involvement, which is unacceptable. You're the a-hole. You didn't want to erase Mark, but you effectively erased yourself as Alice's dad, the only dad she has ever known. And for God's sake, if adopting her is called erasing, you shouldn't have married May. That's even worse. Making the decision to adopt someone should not be a decision made in a few moments while the child is present. Surprising someone with adoption papers in front of the child is horrendous. Why would you subject your child to that? This should have been talked about beforehand. What the hell is wrong with people? Yeah, that's where I'm leaning. This isn't just anyone either. This is his older brother, in a sense. Give OP a heads up. My God, this is traumatizing. She's been calling him dad all this time. I don't understand how he didn't at least think of this before now. And he didn't have to accept right away, but telling her that it's a bad idea isn't good either. No a-holes here. May should have spoken to you about this. My assumption is May and Alice want a legal guardian if something happens. You are her dad, but I also understand your position. What about a legal guardian, which gives you all the rights without erasing her father? Explain that you loved her father too and don't want to erase him. Start talking. Talk and talk and talk until that little girl feels loved and like you are her dad, because effectively, you are her dad. And now onto the update. Thanks for the support. To clear up parts of the story, I should have handled the situation differently. I never said no to her. When Mark went on leave for the first time, he was home for 2 weeks before he got shipped out. In those 2 weeks, Alice was conceived. Mark is 100% Alice's bio-dad. Disregarding Alice's feelings was the last thing that I wanted to do. May, Alice, and Jenny are my worlds. I don't treat my daughters any different. My feelings for May changed when I saw the way she would interact with Alice after they moved in. It filled my heart with more emotion and love that I had not felt ever before that point. The party was just close family, which is only us 4 and Mark/my parents. Since it was a weeknight, they left so that we could work things out. Mark is the only reason that I made it past my teen years. I was in a deep and dark spiral. He saved me. So when people say he's dead, get over it, I can't. He never gave up on me, and I refused to give him up. I went to Mark's parents and had a nice talk with them. They said Mark would be happy and proud of who I am and how well I've taken care of the people he loved. They don't feel like I'm replacing their son in any way, but I am a son to them. I called my wife, and she agreed to talk. I admitted how I felt that we should have had this talk before the party and that this could have been avoided. At that, she did apologize. I then explained more about why I said what I did, personal feelings and emotions. She said that she thought that I would be happy and sign. I explained my point of view, and she understood my concerns and hesitation. We were finishing the conversation when Jenny ran out of her room and asked if we were okay. I said yes, and that I loved her very much. I then went to talk to Alice alone. I went to her room, and my heart broke again. She was still crying on her bed. I knocked and asked if we could talk. She squeaked out a yes, and I sat on the edge of her bed while she had her back to me. I told her that I love her and I will always be her dad. I apologized, saying that I never meant to hurt her. Sometimes adults make mistakes and are not clear with their words or emotions. I made a mistake and hope one day I can make it up to her. I explained Mark was a very important person in my life, and I am grateful that he was able to help bring a beautiful and special daughter into my life. I will always love her, and that I have the best daughter in the world. Not the full conversation, obviously. She turned around and hugged me really tight. It was one of the best hugs of my life. I told her that it would be my honor to adopt her if she still wants that. Between sobs, she said she did. We stayed like that until she fell asleep. After that, May and I did a very overdue heart-to-heart and deep talk. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, and we still have a lot of healing to do. I have not signed yet. I will. We as a family are looking through all of the legal options, and we are on the books for therapy. In the comments, if you do adopt her, will she still be able to get Mark's benefits as he passed away while on active duty? Ooh, that's a good point to consider. OP, it's worth looking into and then can always explain you will adopt afterwards. Also, be absolutely certain that they won't already consider this a de facto adoption, common law or some such, and she isn't already out of anything because her mother married OP and he is very patently taken the role of father. I read your other post after seeing this one, and personally, I would have voted no a-holes here while acknowledging it was deeply hurtful for unintentional reasons, but definitely no a-holes here today. In Judaism, we have a law. When a man dies with no children, his brother is obligated to offer his brother's widow the chance to have a child in her brother's name. If they don't wish to do this, the widow condemns him for abandoning his brother's name, spits at him, and takes off his shoe. Obviously, in modern times, it's a formality, but the meaning still stands. You aren't dishonoring or replacing him by adopting her, just the opposite. You took your brother's family into your home as if they were your own, grew to love them honestly as your own, and have done right by them to such a degree that his daughter has chosen you, despite knowing about her biological father her entire life. Because of you, she grew up in a loving and stable home. Because of you, she will always know what a healthy family looks like. Because of you, she even knows that sometimes you can hurt someone by accident, not because you don't love them, but precisely because you do love them so much and thought that you were doing the right thing. And most importantly, because of you, she learned how to make it right when you have a fight and hurt the people that you love. We have a saying, whoever saves one life, it is as if he had saved the entire world. You saved one little girl. You loved her so much, she chose you as the only father she has ever truly known, and because of you, your friend will live on for generations. Our next post is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my adopted brother he is overreacting? I, 18 female, have 4 siblings. Ro is 19 male. Ro was adopted when he was 13. His biological parents decided they didn't want a baby. The rest of us are biologically siblings. All 5 of us go and went to an art school. The older boys for music, me for art, and Ro is going for dance. I found out through some friends that Ro has been saying our parents have always treated him differently. This week Ro has a show, but my art show is the same day. A couple days ago, our parents said they'd try to make it to his, but they're not totally sure if they could. He hung up on them and, according to one of our friends, locked himself in his dorm and wouldn't talk to anyone. His roommate called me and said he's still really upset and was hoping that I could talk to him. I said he was just being sensitive and I hung up to call him. I let him vent for a while. According to him, Mum and Dad have always put everyone else first. He also said they were disappointed when he went for dance. They were, but they got over it. I said he was overreacting and just needed to chill out. He hung up on me and then blocked my number. Now I'm getting texts and calls from his roommate Sam and all our mutual friends saying I'm a butthole, I'm a cow, I'm selfish, and I need to apologize. Mum, Dad, Tom, and Cam are on my side. So, am I the a-hole? In the comments, you're the a-hole. You acknowledge that his claim is legit, they got over it, does not mean they treat him differently, and then blow him off. Yeah, you're the a-hole. And your parents too. Divide and conquer. Why can't one come to your show and the other go to his? Them prioritizing your show is evidence to him that they haven't gotten over him doing dance. It's evidence to him that they don't really care. It's their job to show him they do. OP says, you're right. Thank you for being honest. Now I see they haven't gotten over it, but pretended in front of us other kids. It kind of makes me wonder if they've said anything to him in private, or just more silently disapproved. You're the a-hole, and so are your parents. A dance show is an actual one-time performance. They can look at your art pieces anytime. They should have prioritized his show. And how is dance more disappointing than art or music? All are equally useless degrees. Not that I believe they are useless, but they're on the same level of potential employability. OP says, I think it's because he's a boy and it's ballet. We were raised in an incredibly religious home. You're right though, he deserves some of the spotlight too. Oh yeah, that would explain it. I do ballet too, and my mother never misses a performance unless I specifically tell her not to come. Rule of thumb, anytime you attempted to think XYZ is overreacting, you are the a-hole. Many adopted children feel like second-class citizens in their own families. This is undoubtedly Ro's feelings. It's clearly not the first time where his special life events are completely ignored by his family in favor of another child's. If your parents really cared, one would go to his show. And OP says, wow, I didn't know that. He's never been open about his past. Could that be why he was so excited to get a dorm on campus and move out? Why would he be open? He clearly couldn't be open to y'all's parents, and I sincerely doubt this is the first time his siblings have told him to get over it because they couldn't or didn't want to see the unfairness. And now on to the update. Thank you everyone for your input. I decided against going to my art show, called all of our family and friends, and had them show up to his instead. We got it sold out. We all met up with him for lunch beforehand and gave him his little gifts. He said he appreciates it, but it'll take a while to trust us again, which is very valid considering how we've been treating him. He also introduced us to his boyfriend. They're adorable together. Mum and Dad thanked him for being someone Ro could turn to when he needed someone. They did great. They even got a standing ovation at the end. Ro did injure his ankle slightly in the beginning of Act 1 during his first solo, but he played it off amazingly. I'm proud of him, and it was amazing to formally meet his boyfriend. Mum and Dad sat him down in front of all of us and apologized for how they treated him and promised they would do better. After the show, he came up and hugged me while crying to thank me. I told him it was all you guys. Thank you guys again. In the comments, I love these kinds of updates. And the original "You're the a-hole" just got turned into a "Not the a-hole." Amazing, sis. Thank you for the update. I don't know about anyone else, but it makes my heart so happy when people are able to accept their a-hole part in this situation and try to rectify it. I'm not crying, you're crying. Good job, OP. Aw, you got me ugly crying now. You took all the comments, tough as some of those were to hear, and you took them on board. You reflected on them and your family dynamic and then turned into a literal superhero. You took a crappy situation and you turned it around beautifully. You should be so proud of yourself. Hell, I don't even know you, and I'm proud of you. You're an awesome sister, and I think you can look forward to a wonderful relationship with your brother going forward. And you have paved the way for your whole family to heal and have wonderful relationships going forward. Thanks so much for the update. You warmed my heart and made me happy. OP says, thank you so much. I love him and I don't want to lose him. These comments really opened my eyes. He's a little standoffish, understandably, but I hope he realizes this isn't going to be a temporary thing. We've been talking a lot since the show, and it's going so well. I'm really proud of Ro and Ash both. Ash, Ro's boyfriend, was one of Ash's supporting characters. Not sure if I worded that correctly, but his role was one of the prince's companions. They both did so well. I really appreciated everyone's advice. We are all taking the boys out for dinner tomorrow, along with Ash's parents, and hanging out. It'll be our first time meeting them, knowing Ash and Rowan are in a relationship. I am a little worried about how our parents will react, just because this has been a long-term relationship, and Ash's parents have known first. But my other brothers and I all agree their relationship with Rowan doesn't have to define our relationship with him, and he is our brother no matter what. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.